ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to our keynote speaker for this evening, Ramaswamy, candidate for governor of the state of Ohio.
Wow, look at this. I love that turnout here. You guys have been fantastic. I love the energy. Let's give our county party leadership another round of applause. It's a great day there. I'm very proud of you guys. Very proud of you. Now, audience, how's it feel? America's back, isn't it? It's good to be back. But we're just getting started. And the real work is still yet ahead.
Sorry, guys.
Over the last 4 years, you think about what we went through as a country. We were in the middle of a national identity crisis. Faith in God, patriotism, hard work, family, all that disappeared in so much of our country. Young people lost their sense of hope in America. We had a 16% rate of Gen Z who said they were proud to be American, a 25% recruitment deficit in our U.S. military. That was unacceptable. That's why we spent the better part of last year traveling this country to send Donald Trump back to the White House for that second term as the 47th President of the United States of America. And now we're on the cusp of a new golden age in our country, a revival of conviction in our purpose as citizens, answering what it means to be an American today. What does it mean to be a citizen of this nation? It means we believe in the ideals that this nation was founded on. I want to recognize a sister who spoke earlier today about saying a prayer inspired by the spring of 1775, June of 1775 it was. What a moment it was to be alive in this country. A moment full of possibility. Our founding fathers could have seen themselves as victims. But they didn't. They were victorious in our hour of need. And now we're bringing back that spirit in our country, a revival of conviction in what it means to be a citizen of the United States of America. What does it mean to be an American? It means we believe in ideals like merit and hard work. That you get ahead in this country not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. That's why we're done with the World PEI agenda yesterday. Moving back to meritocracy in America and the state of Ohio. And then I want to congratulate our state legislature and our governor for signing into law last week SB 1, ending the DEI indoctrination agenda. And so I want to report on that. Thank you. Thank you very much for your leadership. We're proud of you. And Governor, I give us a little round of applause for your efforts. Thank you. What does it mean to be American? It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this as the proud son of legal immigrants to the United States myself, all right? It means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. And that is why we've had the largest influx of illegal aliens into our country in American history. It means we ought to have the largest mass importation in American history. That's not controversial. That's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. It means the people we elect to run the government are the ones who actually make the laws, not unelected bureaucrats in the deep state of the D.C. bureaucracy, or for that matter, of the Columbus, Ohio bureaucracy. That's what it means to stand for self-governance in America. It means that we as Americans are courageous. We're brave, and that in our hour of need that we will do what is right for our country, even heroic, when America calls upon us. These are the ideals that our founding fathers fought for in that summer of 1776. These are the ideals that Donald Trump is aiming to bring back as our 47th president. But I'll also tell you this isn't a one-man job in our country. If we're going to be saved as a nation, it's going to require all of us, every one of us here, to step up and do our part to save ourselves. And that starts with the states. That's what our founding fathers envisioned. Look at what President Trump is doing. Shut down the Department of Education, yes, but sending education back to the states and to the people where it belongs. That's true federalism in action. That's what our founding fathers envisioned. That's what the constitutional framers envisioned. And the golden age for America will be a golden age for the revival of federalism in our 50 states. That is where we in our state of Ohio will have an opportunity to lead the way. We're not just going to follow the rest of the country. We're going to lead the rest of the country back to greatness. So while President Trump revives our conviction in America, we need a leader here at home who revives our conviction in Ohio. And that is why last month I declared my candidacy to be the next governor of a great state at the heart of the greatest nation known to the history of mankind. The state where I'm raising my 2 sons today. The state where I was born and raised. I want to be the next governor of the great state of Ohio. And we will lead Ohio back to greatness. As we always have in our state. Now we're a great state, make no mistake. We're not California. We don't need a U-turn yet, right? We're a great state. But great isn't good enough. I want to lead Ohio to be the top state in the country. I want the better states in the Midwest, the top state in the United States of America, to generate wealth, to give your family and your kids a world-class education, to raise that young family with pride, to grow up and give them a world-class education in math and reading and writing and critical thinking, giving them the tools not to be victims, but to be victors in a competitive global economy, where we embrace capitalism and meritocracy instead of apologizing for it, where we inspire for every possible height we can achieve in the great nation that our founding fathers bequeathed to us. The state will be leading the sectors of the future, from AI to aerospace design to semiconductors. The state will be taking a hatchet job to red tape and government overreach and regulation. I will lead Ohio to be the state of excellence in America. And you know what? There are those who challenge me, who say that, how could Ohio be that state? We're just here in Ohio trying to live our own lives the way the rest of the country views us. How could we be the state that leads? Florida or Texas, they would say. No. It wasn't long ago that Ohio actually was that state of excellence in America. Young people, I've met a number of you. I was looking around for a few of you. We had a few students who were talking to me right before. Now, where are you guys? This would be a few minutes ago. There you are in the back. Appreciate it. What year are you in college, man? He's a junior. Well, this generation will know what I'm talking about. Right now, today, young people on the internet, they have a little meme. They make fun of Ohio for being old or out of touch. If something's a little bit old or outdated, their meme is only in Ohio, they say. It irritates me, actually. It wasn't long ago that people weren't making fun of Ohio. They were aspiring to be Ohio. At the turn of the last century, we were the wealthiest state in the Union. We were an economic powerhouse at the heart of the country. The third most populous state in America. The same fertile farmland we have today, we had at our founding of our state's inception, when Thomas Jefferson admitted the state to the Union in 1803. By the way, yes, we are a state and region of farmers, we won't forget. Stand, let's give one of our great farmers a round of applause. Thank you. I appreciate that. We won't forget this. We actually have. We were the state of the pioneers, the great natural resources underneath our ground, the explorers, the state that led the way. Even in the 1950s, 6 of the top 15 wealthiest cities in America were right here in our home state of Ohio. Toledo was the glass capital of the world. Akron was the rubber capital. Youngstown and Cleveland were the steel capitals of the world. Dayton, where I spent earlier today, was the computing power engine that led the entire industrial revolution. My hometown of Cincinnati, not too far from where we are right now, was known around the world as the Queen City. A state that was powering the food supply chain of the entire Western Hemisphere. Porkopolis is what we were known as. The consumer products capital of the United States of America. We were the pioneers, the explorers, the unafraid. The people who know bureaucracy, no government would dare stop from achieving the maximum of our potential. This ain't where Neil Armstrong and John Glenn grew up as kids with that self-confidence to push the frontiers of outer space to the outer bounds of possibility we didn't know to be possible. Neil Armstrong, think about that. The first man to walk on the moon in human history, born, raised, and did it right here while he was a resident of Ohio. John Glenn, the first American to go to orbit, did it while he was right here in Ohio. The Wright brothers, Dayton, where I visited earlier, taking flight. You see cars driving around this earth, that's not good enough. We're going to be flying, and not only are we going to be flying, we're going to be leading the way as we do it from right here in the state of Ohio, where we grew up. That's who we were. We were the state of excellence in America. And we can be that state again. Because we have the same gifts we did the first time around. The same fertile farmland. The same great natural resources underneath our ground, including oil and natural gas, which we want to apologize for. The same geographic location at the heart of the greatest nation known in the history of man, with 60% of North America's population within a single day's drive of where we're sitting right now. The same Erie Canal of New York City, the same Ohio River to the Mississippi. God has blessed our state with every gift we could possibly wish for to lead the United States of America back to greatness. All we have to do is to start believing in ourselves again to do it. We're in the middle of a second industrial revolution right now. And I believe we can lead the way again. If Silicon Valley led the way in the American economy for the last 10 years, it's going to be the Ohio River Valley for the next 10 years. And mark my words on that. We're going to the West Bank. We're able to Platinum Mountain instead of Ohio. It may not be the same sectors as the past, I'll be honest with you on that. It's going to be the sectors of the future. From semiconductor production to nuclear energy to natural gas, powering our electric grid. From biotech to Bitcoin to our defense industrial base. The state where we use AI not to take jobs, but to make jobs through workforce training and education. This is where I'm going to lead our state. This is our modern-day Northwest ordinance right here in Ohio. We are a conservative state, and it is time for us to finally actually be governed like one. That will lose us elections. That will win us elections. Because it's going to put more money in your pocket. It's going to lift up more people from poverty. It's going to give our kids that missing civic pride and conviction and self-confidence that we're lacking in a generation. It's going to make us the state that patriots across this country, from California to New York, and yes, from Texas to Florida, who share our values, actually flock to and flock back to, repatriating the kids who have left our state to pursue opportunity somewhere else, to come back home to the place where their parents are and their grandparents are, to live their American dream in the cradle of the American dream in our own home state of Ohio. That's going to take leadership with a spine. And I believe it's going to take a new generation of leadership in our state to get us there. I'm going to build on the accomplishments of those who came before me. I want to recognize the accomplishments of Governor DeWine and the prior administration, including signing SB 1 into law, including the economic development that they started to bring to our state. I'm going to have nothing but building on the foundation that came before us to use that as a springboard for leading our state to the future. But if we're being honest, there are some serious challenges that we're going to have to address in our state. I'm going to share with you 3 of those challenges that I see for our state's future with honesty. We can. I don't believe in just giving you rah-rah speeches. I'm going to give you the truth. If you care about somebody, you tell them the truth. If you care about yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. There's a few challenges that we're going to have to address as a state if we want to reach our true potential. And every one of those challenges, there's also an opportunity. The first of those challenges is that we are a shrinking state in our population right now. There's no other way to say it. Our fertility rate is down. People in my generation are having fewer children with less security, less of an idea that they're going to grow up in a better country than we did. There's an uncertainty in my generation in particular. So our fertility rate's gone down, we're having fewer kids. But at the same time, our death rate is going up because our population is aging more in our state. On top of that, we have more people leaving our state than moving in. And the people moving out tend to be our younger, college-educated young people. The people moving in are coming from our neighboring states. They tend to be older and more dependent on government aid, Medicaid, and welfare. That doesn't work for our state in the long run. We have to be a state that is actually growing. We have 11 million people in our state. By the time I'm done as your governor, we're going to have over 15 million people in our state comprised of patriots moving from other states back into Ohio, driving an economic boom. The way we're going to do it is by making Ohio the state where you're able to generate wealth and actually keep that wealth. Over the course of this year, I'm going to be telling you exactly, once a month, we're going to lay out one new thing we're going to do to generate wealth and keep wealth in this state. But tonight, I'll make a commitment to you that in our state of Ohio, when I'm your next governor, we're going to become one of the few states in America where we finally have a zero income tax in the state of Ohio. It is more money out of governments. It is going to keep people in the world in our state. And we're going to lead the way for the rest of the country to become a land for an economic revolution we haven't seen since the first industrial revolution. So our kids live the American dream right here in our state. And we're going to put back on property tax where we're at. So I'm saying now, we're going to put it down in our state. So our farmers and our landowners are not going to pay as much on their mortgage payments as they are on property taxes. That's how we're going to generate and keep wealth in the state. That will help address the population shortage. That's number one. Number two is, and again, I don't need to be doom and gloom here. I'm going to give you the truth. We actually have a pending electricity crisis in our state. It's not a popular topic among Democrats or even Republicans for that matter. Some people are asleep at the switch, if I may say so. I'm not to use an electricity analogy here. I'll give you a personal story. So my parents, as I mentioned, they were legal immigrants to Southwest Ohio. My dad came in the late 70s from India. My mom came in the early 80s. My dad was he just wasn't, India was already a little country back then. But he was from like a really rural part of even India in that time. It was a small little village, 2 hours from the nearest municipality or city. And so we would grow up in Westchester, and then we would be Evendale, outside of Cincinnati. But in summer break, when we were growing up, he would take us back, get grandparents to visit. But I think part of the reason he took us there was to see what we had to be grateful for growing up right here. They had rotating power outages in the village. 8 hours a day, you had electricity. The rest of the time, you didn't. You're going to turn on the light, it doesn't come on 2 thirds of the day. You're going to use the refrigerator, you got 8 hours to do it. But the milk goes bad if you use it outside of it. No air conditioning. Hot water to take a bath. Combine it with the cold water, you got 8 hours a day to have reliable power. After that, it was a rotating power outage. We'd come back home at the end of every summer, so grateful to our house in Westchester, our house in Evendale, to come back and turn on the light switch, it comes on 10 times out of 10. Turn on the air conditioning when it's warm. Well, you know what? We'll at least keep it comfortable inside the house. The milk is still good the next morning because the refrigerator stayed on all night. We didn't grow up wealthy. We grew up squarely middle class. But we were grateful for the gifts that we were afforded in a country that allowed us to live the American dream. Well, now you're talking about 35 years later, the funny things happen. That village, if you go there, effectively isn't even recognized. You got Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, air conditioning, electricity 24/7. The irony is that now you have states like California in the United States going through rotating power outages. And in our own state here, we've got an AI data center boom, which is great, that's coming. But it is the greatest utilization of electricity, the greatest demand on electricity in our electric grid that our state has ever seen. Coming at the exact same time that we have the greatest restraint on coal and natural gas usage for baseload power generation. That math does not add up. And unless we fix it, about 5 years from now, we're going to see electricity prices go up fourfold from what they are right now. And in the next decade, we could be looking at rotating power outages in our home state of Ohio. No, I'm not going to let that happen. We're going to turn that ship around by unleashing energy production in our state. We're going to unleash the natural gas underneath our ground in the eastern part of the state. We're going to build new pipelines at a pace that we have not seen by getting the regulatory state and the bureaucracy and the red tape out of the way. We're going to make sure our coal plants don't close, but actually don't turn coal into a four-letter word. Turn coal into what it is, which is a great source of baseload power generation in our state. And tonight I will also share with you that we will lead Ohio to be the top state leading the revolution in our country when it comes to small modular nuclear reactors in our own state. That's something we all stand for. Empower our electric grid for the next century. For every challenge, there is an opportunity. Yes, we face a challenge on our electric grid, but as your next governor, I'm going to make sure that our power grid in our state is equipped not just for the next 10 years, but for the next 100 years in the state of Ohio. Use the AI data boom as a catalyst to do what we should be doing anyway. The third issue I want to talk about, this is not just specific to Ohio, this is true across our country, is that we are in the middle of an educational achievement crisis in our nation and in our region. There's some hard facts you got to confront here, that we have to confront. I'm a parent of two sons. My oldest son's 5, my younger son's 2. I've got skin in the game. After 2 terms of governor, my older son will be entering high school when I leave that office. So you better believe me, it's deeply personal to me. I care about making sure that every son and daughter in Ohio, not just my 2 sons, are able to grow up in a state where they get that world-class education. But right now, they're not. 75% of 8th graders are not proficient in math right now. Kids in China are on average 4 full years ahead of the average student here. That means a 7th grader here is performing at the same level as a 3rd grade student in China. That's unacceptable. There's kids in other countries where English isn't even their first language, and how do we do better on English proficiency than our own students here? I refuse to just stand by and watch as China laughs at our gradual decay into oblivion. But don't worry, we're going to turn this ship around. We're going to do it right here in Ohio. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country and in the world to give our kids a world-class education in math, reading, writing, critical thinking, financial literacy, civic education, and physical education. We're going to do it by using time-tested principles that take our state to the next level with our school choice programs and bring true universal school choice to the state of Ohio, where every parent gets to choose where they send their kid to school. But the reality in Ohio is it's also true that in many of our regions, let's be honest, those choices don't yet currently exist. So we have no choice but also to make sure that yes, we're going to have school choice and competition, but we're also going to make sure that our public schools are equipped to compete with the best of those alternatives. And that's something that we're going to take on and lead the way in the rest of the country to show how it's done. We're going to make sure our kids actually show up to school. Let's start with that. We have a chronic absenteeism problem in our public schools after the disastrous COVID-19 school closures. I'll make this commitment to you. As your next governor, never again will we allow some Anthony Fauci knockoff to allow our public schools to close while our public schools remain open. She knows those kids and colleges and parents have never lived under the levels of power in our state again. We know that to our kids, the kids that every business of that education. We're going to stand for the achievement of our students every week, from the sports fields to the classroom, in every domain. But that means we're also going to have to make some tough decisions as leaders. The decisions that we know are right as leaders. But we got to have actually the spine to make. I've actually met with public school teachers across the state. I met several earlier today. The topic that nobody is willing to talk about, but is actually the elephant in the room, is we're going to have to bring back a culture of discipline to our public schools. Like we have long walls. We're not going to run our students when they're in the student press. In one case, I had a teacher who was by a student in the classroom. I think it was an 18-year-old student. She couldn't even get a suspension from the school. The principal just wanted to sweep it under the rug. That's not a service to that teacher. That's not a service to that student. We have to bring back the sense of what's right and wrong to our schools and do it with conviction. Get the cell phones out of the classroom. A great source of distraction is no reason for them to be there. We're going to finally put that down. And tell them what we're not seeing. We got to make sure that we have the very best in the teaching profession. Let's be very honest. Even in our cities, it's a $45,000 starting salary for a public school teacher. We have an educational achievement crisis in our state and in our country. I mean, that's really a crisis. That's a five-alarm fire. I believe it is. I call our public school teachers our first responders in addressing that emergency. But we have to make sure that the best of our public school teachers are really able to live the American dream in a way that they're not today, or we're not going to attract the very best. And that's why I'm going to lead Ohio to become the first state in the country where our public school teachers and principals are paid for performance. We're the very best ones. And earn more money than they are now. In fact, we're not using the test. Not just about rewarding the school districts that already have a higher test score. No. It's about performance in every sense. Parental assessments of performance. Peer assessments of performance. The best teachers in the school know who's really carrying their weight and who's not in that school. It's also about redirecting our resources in our public schools from where the money's being spent right now to classroom instruction. This shouldn't surprise you, but outside of the family is the number one factor that determines a student's success, of course. And the nuclear family, I will say, is the greatest form of governance known in the history of mankind. And it's the standard family. But outside of the family, the number one factor that affects the performance of a student is the quality of his teachers. And yet right now, the overwhelming majority of our state's public education dollars go to uses of funding other than classroom instruction. Think about that. The majority of the money that's being spent is going to something other than classroom instruction. That's a failure. That's a mistake. And it's part of why the public schools that are costing the most per student, think about the inner city of Cleveland, for example, those are the schools performing worse on a per student basis. It's not about how much money, it's about how that money is actually spent. We've got to spend it according to merit, we've got to pay for performance, and we've got to make sure more of the money is going to classroom instruction rather than overhead and bureaucracy where it's going today. It's not just math or reading and writing, it's physical education too. We're going to bring PE starting in kindergarten. We're going to bring back the presidential fitness test in our public schools, including the ones. It sets a standard to aspire to. We're going to make sure that a student isn't ready to move on from 6th grade to 7th grade or 7th grade to 8th grade. The true service to that student is saying that we're going to make sure that you have the skills to actually move on before you do. Our schools aren't an assembly line where our students are our widgets. No, every student deserves the attention and care to make sure he's ready to advance to that next level. We're going to address the mental health epidemic in our state by reviving that sense of missing purpose and meaning in our young people. There's a vacuum, there's a deficit, a deep hole in our hearts. The things that used to fill that void, faith in God, patriotism, hard work, family, have all but disappeared in so much of our state and in our country. We've turned the ship around. Individual, family, nation, and God beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate. If we have the courage to stand for what is right, what is true, what is good in our state. And we're going to put back civic education, replace the woke indoctrination and good psychology with actual U.S. civics lessons, actual U.S. history lessons that teach our kids to be proud of our country and our state rather than ashamed of it. When under next government, we will require, by the way, we'll start every public school to pledge allegiance and a moment of silence, just like we did today. We should start every day our public school the same way. We instill a sense of civic purpose. And we'll also make sure that every high school senior who graduates from Ohio Public High School has to pass the same civics test that every legal immigrant has to pass before becoming a naturalized citizen. We gotta know something about the country. To be proud of the country. To love the country. And that creates the foundation for them reviving higher education as well. Look, I'm a product of Princeton public schools in the state of Ohio. There's a chairman, board of directors of the school board of Princeton, right? Thank you. We overlap. Give this man a round of applause. I appreciate that. I was a student when he was leading the school board at Princeton, the public school where I went through 8th grade. I went to St. X for high school, and I went to some of the top universities, Harvard, Yale, at least they were the top at the time. That's when they lost the way. But what I want to say is, for me, 4-year college education was the right path to live the American dream for me. And that's a great thing. I want Ohio to have the top universities in the country right here in our home state. But I also want us to be the state where my path isn't the only path to success. Where every son and daughter of Ohio who wants to become an electrician, or a welder, or a carpenter, or a mechanic, or a machine operator, has a shot at 2-year, or 1-year, or 6-month vocational training with earn-while-you-learn programs integrated as early as high school to put money in the pockets of our kids while also allowing them to pursue their dreams in that state of Ohio. That too is about I don't call these professions the trades. I call them professions. Because that's what they are. It's not that one of these paths is more or less elite than the other. Sometimes we fall into this trap, right? It's that only 4-year college education is elite and we look down on the trades. Or sometimes you can make a reactionary response. Our 4-year college degrees are bad. We don't want that. We only want to go into the trades. No. It's not one or the other. It's not one of these is more or less elite than the other. They're all elite in Ohio. Okay, I want us to be the state where every son and daughter of Ohio who wants to become a doctor like my wife, or an entrepreneur like me, or an engineer, or a software designer, has a chance to do it by going to the best universities here in Ohio, while also every son and daughter of Ohio who wants to become that carpenter, or electrician, or welder, has a path to do it here and live a good life in our state as well. That is what true meritocracy is about. That's what the American dream is about. That's what our nation was built on, a nation that recognized that every one of you, every one of us, has our own unique God-given talent, distinct from every other person in the world. And that we are the nation where you get to use the maximum of your own God-given gift without any man or system or government or bureaucracy standing in your way. That is the American dream. That is what made America great the first time. And that is how we will make Ohio great again. Where our young people are spiteful of somebody else's success through capitalism because they're participating in it with true skin in the game. That's my message to my 2 sons tonight. That's my message to every son and daughter of Ohio tonight. This is the state where the American dream is your birthright. Success is your birthright. A world-class education is your birthright. Freedom is your heritage. And excellence is your destiny. This isn't a small vision for our state. It is an ambitious vision because I believe that is who we really are as Ohioans and as Americans. We're not victims, we're victors. We don't whine, we win. When we rally behind the cry to make America great again, we hunger for that unapologetic pursuit of excellence in the United States of America. That's our national identity. That is our heritage. That is who we are at our very best. I've lived the American dream at a scale my parents could have never imagined when they came here 45 years ago. I'm grateful to this state and to this country for giving me a path that was unimaginable in any other country but the one that we're in right now. Go as the kid. People came here penniless to found multi-billion-dollar companies, to become the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican, to now hopefully be the next governor of a great state at the heart of the country. A state that was founded, by the way, on religious liberty by a group of Baptists who came here before the Constitutional Convention to sign the Northwest Ordinance, to 200 plus years later, a guy like me able to lead that same state to stand for religious liberty. Only in America is that possible. And I will fight for that American dream every day for our kids and your kids and their generation. That is why I want to give gratitude to the state and to this country. I'm going to fight to the end for the state. We're going to visit all 88 counties this year. We're going to visit all 88 counties next year. I'm going to visit all 88 counties every one of the next 8 years after that I serve as your governor, because we don't want to go from alone. I want to listen to you. I want to listen to every Ohioan from every part of this state, from the inner city of Toledo all the way to the foothills of Appalachia and every place in between, including where we're sitting tonight. We're constitutional conservatives in this room, we are. But honestly, I'm not here to just lead the people in this room. I'm here to lead the people who are in this room as well. We want a big tent coalition of Republicans, independents, libertarians, politically homeless, orphan, brain Democrats, anybody who's politically homeless in the state. If you care about educational excellence for your kids, if you care about giving your kids the same shot at the American dream that this country and this state gave to me and my wife and my family, and we're really on the same team. We may not agree on 100% of things, but we will have a seat for you at the table and a place for you in this movement. We will work with you to lead our state to the next level and to new heights, to greater heights than we've ever reached. Even to those who aren't against it, we will work with you. I want your best ideas, because we want to integrate them to make our state the best possible state we can be for every one of the sons and daughters of our state who grow up and hopefully remain here. We don't have to stay a state in decline. We don't have to be a nation in decline. I believe we are still a state in our ascent, just like our country. Still on our way to that shining city. Still that country where we will look our kids in the eye and mean it when we tell them that you get ahead in the United States of America and you get ahead in the state of Ohio with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what you're doing is speed your mind in every step of the way. That is the American dream. So that 10 years from now, when we're sending manned rockets to Mars, when we're powering our electric grid with the nuclear energy of the future, when we're curing previously incurable genetic diseases with cures discovered right here in Ohio. You want to know what young people on the internet are going to say then? Only in Ohio. That's where we're at. We're proud of who we are. Our best days as a state are behind us. They're still yet ahead of us. We're going to fight for the ideals that made our country great the first time. The ideals that won us the American Revolution in that beginning of the summer of 1775 when we began with prayer earlier today. Those are the ideals that set our country in motion. Those are the ideals that reunited us after the Civil War. Those are the ideals that won us 2 world wars in the Cold War. Those are the ideals that still give hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. And that is what we will revive to save our great nation and to lead our state of Ohio back to greatness. Thank you all for coming tonight. God bless you and your families and the God bless the United States of America and our great state of Ohio. Fight to stay in our country we're fighting for. We're going to do that one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending our 2025 Lincoln Day dinner this evening. Thank you to all volunteers, event hosts, sponsors, and everyone else that helped make this event possible. And of course, a special thank you to our keynote speaker this evening, Ramaswamy. Please join me, everyone.
right, guys, tell me what you think of the speech. Is he the guy, if you're a Republican, you're interested in? Let me know in the comments. All right, guys, thank you.